This looks a lot worse than it actually is, but it's just like a couple tiny spots, but then as you sand, it gets bigger and bigger. That's 5,000 grit. So when you think about how big that is, my pads are 6 inches. So whenever I'm sanding, you sand your nib and it just gets bigger. 3, 5, you always want to sand the scratches out, but we're getting there. 5,000, it's not even really sanding, it's just doing scratch refinement really. I think you're getting it all, and then all of a sudden, bam, right there. That's what we're trying to eliminate. Little dirt nibs just like that. Handle that right now. Of choice, Next Level Block is the smallest one I got. They do have a prep and detail kit. I don't have that one, but that nib is right there. This is actually just 2,500 grit. Not even that aggressive, but block it until it goes flat. And I like 2,500 because it doesn't disturb a lot of the texture. It still keeps a bit of that texture, so it doesn't look like one giant flat spot right there. There's a slight little nib still right there. I'm gonna hit it a little bit more, but I'm gonna take this area, I'm just gonna kind of blend it out so it's not all just one, clear defined spot. If I do take some of this texture away, at least it's more gradual. That's what I mean by more gradual. Kind of get back to where the meat and potatoes of that sanding was, but just kind of sanding it out. Hit it with 3,000, 5,000 and polish. So this is 3M's Trizac. That's the 5,000 right there. You want to use a damp. You sand it down. You want to use a crosshatch. Do that twice, maybe 3 times over. Aim for a 50% overlap. That I'm using. I picked this up at Auto Recon here in Saskatoon. Got that done in 5,000. You can see it's a little glossier now. They do make an 8,000 in Trizac, but I don't think it's necessary when you got the wool pad. But we'll give this a quick shine and we'll send it. Now we're not doing restoration, so we're not knocking this thing perfectly flat, so we want to keep texture. That's why I don't like keeping things small and just focusing on the one area, because it'll stand out even more when you have a nice flat spot and the whole everything else has factory orange peel. That's why I'm kind of going a little bit further, so that one little dust nib is now a foot wide or more just from the sanding process to try and get the 2,500 scratches out for one, but to try and get that texture to just gradually go in and blend in. It's kind of like blending a color on a panel. You're just trying to, I guess, trick the eye where it's not a perfect color match, but you blend it out so people don't notice it. So same kind of idea. I'm just trying to blend out any possible flat spot that I create from doing a nib and make it so that it doesn't look like there ever was a nib there, and it just looks like a really nice paint job that was left. Got my cut compound, the Cut Max. It's really good. That's one tiny little drop starting to sag, but once your pad is already loaded up with it, it doesn't take much for that to cut and come out. Like that one little drop, realistically, on this pad loaded up, can probably cut this whole bedside if it was all sand and polished, or sorry, not polished, if it was all sanded, say down into 5,000. That one little drop could probably do all of this and that, as long as your pad is loaded up with some compound already. I do this one-handed. We are out of control a little bit. Turn that down a bit. You can even see one hand going slow. Already bringing a shine back to it. Like I'm telling you, this stuff is the best. With a rotary like this, rotaries are pretty aggressive. With a wool pad, it shines up super easy. Here's what we got cooking. It's hard to see. You can see, if you look really close, this is all trade secrets right here. In the light, texture slowly fades out, trying to keep as much as I can. But as you look back here, as a whole, you don't really notice it because I didn't just focus on that one spot and then only hit that and sand that. Blended out the scratches. You don't even notice. And then you just send it and everybody's happy because their truck looks brand freaking new. So once you get everything cut, wool pad, then I have a different pad that's not as aggressive. You're still gonna have some swirls finish it off with some perfect finish. Still does do some cut, but it brings back a really nice shine, leaves no swirls from the previous step. So you have to finish off with this. When it's in the sun, it looks absolutely perfect and smooth. It doesn't have any of that, as you can see. That swirls. We used to run 3M polish a lot, and the crazy thing about this Sonex stuff versus the 3M, not only is the 3M more money, but the amount of dust that 3M stuff would make was ridiculous. Like, it made as much dust as you're sanding a car. It was just everywhere. This stuff makes no dust whatsoever. And it takes even less product to get where you need to go. And the Cut Max does a lot better of job of not leaving swirls in your panel as the step 1 in the 3M system does. So really, overall, it's a win-win-win across the board for us. We're getting better results, quicker, and yeah, everything's just way better. Like, here's a good example. There's the 2 doors and the bed. Where's the dust? There is no dust from that polish on there at all. And that's what I love about this stuff. It seems to just create less of that halo, less imperfections getting polished back into the paint because there's no dust landing on your panel as you're polishing. Way better. Here's the thing about clear coat: when it's fresh and you polish it, it looks nice and shiny. You give it some time. As it continues to cure and dry, it's going to die back. You're going to have to hit it a second time because you might have spots showing up. But if you bake your panels, it's going to speed up the cure time. Now, we don't have a bake cycle in our booth. If we did, you kick on the bake. That cure would be a lot better than air drying like we have to do. So if you really need to, or you should at least, put a heat lamp on it, get that clear as cured and hard as possible. So that way when you shine it up, it actually stays shiny and then it doesn't die back. Then you don't have to go over it a second time.
Put a shopping cart in front of you, I will fill it with so many random things you'll think.
Here's what I got. Some new ends. I keep getting new paint guns, so I think this is what I use. If not, they'll get returned. And I needed some magnets, and these were on sale. They're really cheap. I'm not even going to use the hook. It's supposed to hold a paint gun. I got the U-hooked. I'm good. I just want the magnet because it was really cheap. And lastly, I got a straight edge. I'm going to be using this to check my panels as I'm body working them. Just hold it up. You know, that all these conversions and whatnot. We have one. It's like 40 inches long, but this is a 2 foot long one. This one will be the exact right size for everything.